Now, could you kind of, for everybody who doesn't know what CE5 is, could you kind of go through what CE5 is in general and the process maybe, and maybe even just go into how, how an outing goes?
Sure, yeah. So CE5 stands for, number one, stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Why is it the fifth kind? Basically, there was a project back, I don't know the actual date, maybe in the 60s
Yeah.
or 70s or whatnot. Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
And Project Blue Book with Dr. J. Allen Hynek was the study of phenomenal events, basically, to try to basically document these events and to try to put them in some type of filing system or some order or whatever so we can
Yeah.
understand them. And so, within that Rolodex or, whatnot, that filing system, that layer of information, they were able to actually categorize different encounters. And the first encounter, close encounters of the first kind, is whenever you just have a sighting.
Yeah.
You're in your car, you look up one day, it's at nighttime, you're walking your dog or something, you see something in the sky, it's not a plane, it's not, anything else, it's, just an orb or something happening, very paranormal like, and, it's classified as a CE1, just regular sighting. CE2 is whenever there is actual, there could be like debris, or there could be other just traces of phenomenal existence that's kind of has happened.
Yeah.
Like a crop circle
Okay.
or whatnot right there. Or there's been different things, but crop circle is kind of one of the more common things.
Yeah.
CE3, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, just like the actual movie, is whenever you actually see an EBE, extraterrestrial biological entity, and either A, face to face, or B, just seeing the actual body of it. This also could be a light body as well, a transcendental, translucent body as well. CE3. CE4 is whenever you actually have an abduction experience. You're brought on to either a craft, or there's abduction experiences that don't involve your body at all either. They just involve your actual consciousness onto certain craft, or just into a different place, whatnot. And you have experiences with these beings. CE4. CE5 is very unique because it's the first one that you control the most yourself, with your own intention. So CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is human initiated contact with on or off planet civilizations, higher dimensional, multi-dimensional individuals. And basically what that kind of means to me is, and a lot of people in the subculture kind of get it twisted. They get a little bit twisted. They get a little bit too fantastical about it, and it just gets very put into a box of what we're doing is where we're going out, we're summoning extraterrestrials, we're summoning them, right? That's actually the furthest from the truth. Don't get me wrong, there are people out there that do claim that they do summon extraterrestrials, and that's kind of something that if they didn't develop it, they definitely, that was something that they came into this life to actually do. not everyone came into this life to do the same thing. Actually, no one came into this life to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But there are, people who are mediums. There are people who are channelers. There are people who have these extra abilities to do.
Yeah.
CE-5 is actually not that. CE-5, close encounter of the fifth kind, is basically the ability to get into a state of a higher level of consciousness and awareness, putting you in a more subtle state of awareness. Mm-hmm. Once you're in that more subtle state of awareness with these what they call CE-5 protocols, that get you into what they call cosmic consciousness. It's a guided meditation style that gets you into cosmic consciousness. Then you are basically at a plane of awareness to where they would be able to actually interact with you. That doesn't say that they always will.
Yeah.
And that doesn't say that they always will on a very obvious, gross or obvious way, or manifestation.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a lot more subtle. A lot of times it's going to be through things like telepathy. A lot of times it's going to be through things like different types of senses or feelings or whatnot, different downloads, and things of this nature. It's rare. It's actually one of the most rarest things actually is having an actual sighting, seeing an actual third dimensional, solid, physical mass in the sky that is acting in a very intelligent and peculiar way that is basically defying physics. And those are always great to get those types of sightings just for kind of a confirmation, like, just a big confirmation, here and there. But that's not the actual work, and that's not what we actually do. What we are doing is we are developing the means to push the ascension of global collective consciousness for our civilization to evolve. That's actually what we are doing. Because again, what are we doing? We're actually getting into a higher state of awareness at a more subtle mind, to be able to open up the communication for contact. That's all we're actually doing. Now, if we do that on a level of the global collective consciousness, on a global level, and it's common knowledge now that you can get into these states of awareness, cosmic consciousness on a really big level, then that's whenever open contact can really actually happen. They're like, Joe, well, why don't they just land on the White House lawn?
Yeah, the classic.
Classic. I get that a lot. Why don't they just land on the White House lawn, man? There is a lot at stake for them.
Yeah.
Way over and beyond just them being hit by missiles from a very primitive and violent species like humans in our current state of awareness and consciousness, but also on a more quantum level and a more universal level and a cosmic level. There's something called cosmic law that they really that shouldn't be broken. It's kind of an enlightenment type of law, and basically what it is that as a species at a civilization at a higher level of consciousness cannot directly basically manipulate, for lesser words, the evolutionary track of a lower level consciousness civilization.
Yeah.
It's basically like a do no harm policy.
Oh.
And it's almost like a monk. Why on earth would a monk take a precept to not kill or not steal or not do a lot of things that other people on, say their own levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
Because remember, you're on your level, I'm on my level, so we're all level. We're all level. So there's no real higher or lower here. It's just whenever we talk in these terms, we have to talk dualistically just to get our points across.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say at a lower level of consciousness, people kill bugs. They might kill a fly or whatever it is. Whenever a monk wouldn't do that, because a monk really understands the ebb and flow of karma, and the evolutionary steps that their actions are basically producing. And they're more aware of that. Take that to the millionth degree. And that's what they are dealing with as far as this whole cosmic law. And so us getting up to a level to where we are in a state of higher awareness allows them to be able to have contact with us without necessarily changing our evolutionary track, because we're changing our evolutionary track by ourselves, by reaching out through CE-5. So that's kind of what CE-5 actually is. As far as the contact modality, as far as the protocols, what we actually do,
or how you specifically maybe in the ABQ CE-5, because I feel like since it's kind of as you said, a global movement, there's going to be different protocols between people, or how they set it up and everything. So maybe you just go into your specific brand. Yeah,
that's actually true, because there is different ways of achieving that level of awareness. I mean, there's just different levels of actually doing that. And so how we do it, CE-5 Albuquerque, is basically we usually do the first Saturday of each month. That's usually going to be whenever Dr. Greer has his email list, go out to come together and do a global CE-5.
So that means that there's going to be multiple different groups all at the same time doing the same thing collectively, so that I guess it amplifies the amount of for lack of a better word, vibing that's going on in there.
Yeah, exactly. The vibes are just quantified. There's quantified vibrations. And so I mean if you want to think of the whole earth as a light bulb. And you got a 6-watt light bulb most days. And then you now have a 60-watt light bulb, and so it's a lot brighter. And so the signal is basically being cast a lot more strong. And so doing it, whenever there's other, collective people on the same page in a certain time frame around the entire world, it really feeds into the global collective consciousness grid, and it really fires it. It really fires it up more to actually do on one day whenever we're all actually doing it. So basically, we come out on the first Saturday, and we have just talk about the actual local one, because we do have expeditions where we go out further. We do have things out of town sometimes and everything. That's usually whenever it's warmer, and whenever we have somewhere like a ranch or somewhere that is a place that we can basically be legally.
Yeah.
But you know, whenever we're not doing that, that's specific of CE5s. We do a local one, just up here in the foothills
Yeah.
of the Sandia Mountains, and go out there. Usually we meet up around 8 or 9. Usually a little bit earlier if it's colder, but usually those are going to be the actual times.
Yeah.
But we'll get out there, and we will get into a circle, and we will basically raise vibration frequency. We can play the CE5 tones, the crop tones, and the other ones, I think, from Mount Shasta, whatnot.
Yeah.
And kind of have those going to amplify the area.
Yeah.
First, but after that we kind of get into circle, get into a form of meditation. We do a puja ceremony, which basically just blesses the area, and it also just amplifies the area where we are. It also is a level of protection too. It's a level of protection for us, opening up our consciousness and awareness all together, outside under the stars. There are things that are psychological attacks. Those types of things are can happen and are real. And so you really want to make sure that you have that force field of gratitude, that force field of light, and really that force field of positivity going into it that you create with a puja ceremony. After you got that going and everything, we usually do a little bit of chanting and stuff just to get onto the same page, and kind of quiet the mind from the outside distractions of the entire world, get everyone into one cohesive mindset. And then after that, we would usually get into the actual CE5 meditation, which is a protocol called CTS, coherent thought sequencing. Coherent thought sequencing has something to do with remote viewing. A lot of people might be familiar with remote viewing. SRI, Stanford Research Institution, did studies on what's something called remote viewing, where it was basically psychically and intuitively, actually, being able to see a place in all of space or time by your command of focusing on a certain target. This target could be anywhere in space or time. So backwards in time, forwards in time, or the present day, anywhere in space as well. So that means here on Earth too. But basically, we get into a type of form of that. This isn't going to be the standard SRI, CIA governmental form. It's going to be another one called ERV, which is extended remote viewing, which is more of the getting into a vibrational state of awareness, quieting the mind, and basically getting into a state that you can be very receptive to locking on to a certain target or whatnot. So anyways, basically get into that. We use that and getting into cosmic consciousness, thought coherent sequencing. Coherent thought sequencing basically is a sequence of thought coherently that gets you from the seat that you are in, and it takes you out into the universe, into the cosmos. And once you're out there in the cosmos, you're actually able to feel, sense, know, have a perception of different maybe entity or craft that might be out in that field. Once you have identified a craft or whatnot, then what you would want to do is basically through this sequence, follow the sequence in reverse all the way back to your seat here on Earth, basically guiding this entity into your circle, where your actual circle is. And the more you do that kind of back and forth, the more that you do that, the more that the directions are pretty much put into the GPS, I guess. they got better devices than Garmin, I'm sure, but as far as it goes, it's kind of put into their to their direction, and they can basically be able to locate the group. Now, getting into that and everything, once again, this contact modality is more so about getting into the state of being than it is having the all out contact and everything. And as we say, seeing anything is a bonus. It's a bonus. Just to see anything is just a bonus that comes and goes, and it's really something not to focus on. Focus on the real work. Focus on the work of cultivating this mindset and being able to push it into the consciousness of our civilization. That's really what we're out there doing. And so that's basically what we do. We do a little bit of sky watching after that, and that's always fun. We talk to each other and everything. Is always great stories going on. This is a great community as well. Very, very open community. If you have anything about, dreams that you might have had, or sightings, or contact that you might have experienced, or anything like that, this is the absolute most open and positive and receptive group to be in, and to kind of talk to about those types of fringe topics, and outside of the group. We usually wrap it up, and usually about a hour and a half to 2 hours, wrap it up. And usually you leave there being so fired up, man. So fired up. It's always like, I always get in my car and I just like yell. I'm always like, yeah, like we freaking did, because it's the victory is doing it. That's the victory. Going there, getting people together, going through the motions and everything, knowing that you made an impact in the global collective, and leaving. That's being victorious right there. And so if we can be victorious every time, we've been victorious 100% of the time that we've went out for CE-5, and that's really awesome to say.
That is awesome. And just to kind of echo that, I would like to say that the first time that I've ever been was to the Albuquerque CE-5, and I definitely got the same, exactly what you said, where it was the community and how receptive they are, even to, I had never done it. I got some wacky beliefs of my own kind of thing, and I was able to just come in and straight up, like, the energy, also the energy leaving that event too was, it was just refreshing. If there aren't even aliens, like, it's still a great, like, what's the worst you're doing? It's just having a good time out in the wilderness, like connecting with nature and other people over, and really calming the mind. I think that was the biggest thing that brought away from me after you did the tuning fork tones. I was able to kind of, I don't want to be like, ooh, it was a shift, but I'm like, oh, I was here. Now I'm at a level that I'm like, mentally engaged in now. And so I would like to echo that if anybody is out there thinking about that is one place to go. CE-5, find yourself a group.
I mean, it's literally, I mean, what could be better than going out under the stars with like-minded people and meditating for a better future?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know of a better, I don't know, of a more of a more impactful action to take
Yeah.
in this manifested life that we have. I don't even know of one. There's not even there's nothing more. You cannot do anything more than that. You are impacting not only everyone on the entire world, but you, because we're getting into cosmic consciousness,
Yeah.
you're impacting every living being in all dimensions of the entire cosmos.
Yeah.
As a human, I mean, there's nothing more impactful than doing a CE5. That's
Yeah.
it.